right now on 5 on Your Side at 10.
A 6-year-old boy shot inside a North City gas station. His mother just steps away.
I just had to fly my son to the hospital, and luckily we made it.
Tonight, only on 5 on Your Side, a mom recounts those terrifying moments as her young son continues his long road to recovery. Tonight, the beef with a new meatpacking facility. The growing concerns for people who live on and enjoy Lake St. Louis. We start tonight in a storm alert. Storms continue moving across the bi-state. At times, they've caused downpours, strong winds, and lightning. Some of you remain under a tornado watch as we come on the air tonight. Good evening. I'm Mike Bush.
And I'm Kelly Jackson. The overnight severe weather threat is diminishing. Let's get straight over to Weather First Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell.
You know, we have had some stronger thunderstorms across the area, but our severe weather certainly limited here as we've pushed through the evening. Some gusty winds produced, looks like a few tree branches down around Herman, and also perhaps some trees damaged in southern portions of Warren County. But that storm came through St. Louis without much fanfare. It's already made it all the way over to Effingham right now. That's how fast these storms are cruising. They are moving. And there's one right now that is just southeast of downtown St. Louis, has some pretty decent lightning with it, maybe some small hail. A couple more here back just north and west of Rolla down 44. Again, maybe a little small hail, some cloud to ground lightning, but nothing that we're seeing right now is showing signs of being anywhere close to severe. The cold front is just back to the north and west of St. Louis, and it's having trouble making much more in the way of progress this evening. Through the metro area, there still will be a couple of rumbles of thunder here and there, particularly southeast of town as you head here into portions of St. Clair County, from Millstadt over to Belleville, heading over to Shiloh, Illinois, as we wait on this system to pull on out. The worst of this ended up going well to our north today, across portions of Iowa, up into parts of Wisconsin. So there's limited chances for severe weather over the next hour or two, maybe. The tornado watch in effect until midnight. That's been trimmed somewhat for areas north and west of us. The next chance for severe weather will be later Wednesday, we think, and it's mainly south of Metro St. Louis. So that's where we have, at this point, what's going on. It'll be the focus shifting to tomorrow afternoon and mainly south of St. Louis, and we'll leave you with Jackie's picture. Just came in a few minutes ago from our Weather Watchers Facebook group with after the fact, the rainbow this evening for out in Wright City. Mike?
And while in storm alert, the Weather First team will constantly update the forecast on air on KSDK.com, the 5 on Your Side app, and streaming on 5+. You can also just text the word weather to 314-425-5355, and we'll send the latest forecast to your phone.
New tonight, we have an update on a 6-year-old boy caught in the middle of a deadly shooting at a St. Louis gas station. Just hours ago, the boy's mother relived that terrifying night only with our Robert Townsend. And Robert, you also learned the child is related to another innocent boy recently hurt in another tragic case.
Kelly, that's right. Adrian Jones is the kindergartner now in the hospital with a bullet wound to his stomach. His cousin, 9-year-old Cody Walker, is the third grader recently pinned between two cars at a North St. Louis City Park. For Leasia Hatcher and her 6-year-old son, Adrian Jones, it was supposed to be a quick trip to this Baden gas station for snacks. But in a flash, it turned into a nightmare.
I tried to handle it the best way I could, being at my most devastated moment.
Hatcher says just after 11 last Wednesday night, a man dressed in all black and wearing a ski mask stormed inside the gas station armed with what looked like an assault rifle. Hatcher asked us to not show her face.
He told my friend, like, hey, and he just, started shooting at him.
Police say 34-year-old LaMarco Sharp suffered several gunshot wounds and died. Hatcher's innocent son caught in the gunfire.
Dove to the floor. I'm just crawling for dear life, trying to get, somewhere safe. So when I jump right back out, the man's gone. LaMarco's on the ground, all shot up, and I see my son.
Adrian shot once in his stomach.
I'm running towards him, unbelievable, devastated. I'm crying. I'm telling him to grab my neck. I pick him up. I put him in a car.
The frantic mom rushed her wounded only child to a hospital. The shooting happened just down the street where 1 month ago, Adrian's cousin, Cody Walker, was pinned between two cars. Both boys are now in the same hospital.
Me and Cody's mother, we're first cousins. Just how horrible that neighborhood is.
Incredibly, nearly a week later, Adrian made this video for his mom from his hospital bed.
I'm more grateful that my son is still here, you know.
Both boys are expected to survive. Again, police are telling us they are still looking for the gunman in that gas station shooting.
Robert, thanks. Tonight, contamination concerns over a new meatpacking plant and its water treatment facility being built in Warren County.
Just hours ago, the Missouri Department of Natural Resources hosted a virtual public meeting about the permits for the facility in Wright City. 5 on Your Side's Laura Barczewski explains why neighbors miles away in Lake St. Louis are upset.
Neighbors who live along Lake St. Louis are really worried about whatever might be flowing downstream from the meatpacking plant and its water treatment facility into their lake that they boat on and swim in every day.
There are about 5,000 people in Wright City, and there are about 5,000 people in Lake St. Louis Community Association alone. We are impacted if the lake continues to degrade.
Construction is already underway for the $800 million beef packing facility, America's Heartland Packing. It's near Wright City, and just one exit down, construction is underway for a water treatment facility that will serve the plant and new developments. This is all near Peru Creek, which directly feeds Lake St. Louis.
Peru Creek watershed is way, way bigger than Lake St. Louis can handle, frankly. 1 inch of rain on wet ground in that watershed will bring Lake St. Louis up 5 feet.
Right now, American Food Group is going through the process to get a wastewater operating permit for their water treatment facility through the Missouri Department of Natural Resources, which includes gathering public comment.
The future plan is for the new advanced treatment plant to accept flows from the currently overloaded Wright City wastewater treatment plant while providing capacity for the city to grow.
A Lake St. Louis Community Association board member says they already deal with sediment issues in the lake and are in the process of ramping up their water monitoring because keeping the water safe is their top priority. They hope and expect through details of this permit that regulators will take care of that.
I think the enforcement here is really critical, that we have a good sampling process and that it's rigorously enforced.
Reporting in Warren County, Laura Barczewski, 5 on Your Side.
There is an in-person public meeting regarding the water treatment facility next Thursday from 4 to 7 at the Wright City Lions Club.
More witnesses will take the stand tomorrow in a hearing that could set a convicted murderer free. Christopher Dunn was convicted of killing Rico Rogers in St. Louis in 1990. He spent more than 3 decades in prison. Multiple witnesses who put him at the scene of the crime have now recanted their testimony. This led St. Louis prosecuting attorney Gabe Gore to call for the charges against Dunn to be dismissed.
No physical evidence links Christopher Dunn. Instead, he was convicted solely on the basis of recanted testimony.
The hearing is expected to last until Thursday. The judge will then decide whether Dunn should go free. Get ready to sound off on what the city of St. Louis can do better to step up transportation safety.
Whether you drive, walk, bike, or take public transportation, leaders say it is time to look ahead to make long-term improvements. Ren Solomon is live tonight to explain what will happen from here.
You know, a city rep put it this way. He said it's about the vision, values, and goals of the city. That's why over the next 12 months, you can expect a major community blitz, all with the goal of hearing from you.
Some will tell you the recent tragic, high-profile fatal crashes in St. Louis have created an unfavorable narrative.
I can't walk from one side of the street to the other without fear of being hit.
It's why Charles Bryson with TrailNet is watching closely to see what city leaders are doing to turn things around.
You need to have pedestrians first. Then you need to think about bicyclists.
Right now, several big road improvement projects are underway, from Kings Highway to Jefferson Avenue.
Better sidewalks, safer roadway cross-section, new trees, better accessibility to bus stops, shorter crossing distances for pedestrians, new pavement, better pavement markings.
Now, city officials are working to create a buzz around a citywide transportation and mobility plan.
We are going to completely transform some of the streets in the city over the next few years.
They want your input to lead the way. The Board of Aldermen have allocated $1.2 million towards studying what areas need immediate action.
Take a look at the policies, the ordinances, and how we put in speed humps, stop signs, roundabouts. Right now, those investments are really determined by alderpersons on an ad hoc basis. And it's a complaint-driven system where residents can complain, but there really needs to be a strategic approach here.
Those calling for safer conditions say the engagement around this is exciting and overdue.
It should have been done a year ago.
And right now, the city is calling on volunteers for a community advisory committee. On top of that, expect to see surveys by phone and online. City leaders will also be going to community events and neighborhood meetings. Live in St. Louis, Brent Solomon, 5 on your side.
Tonight, the trash is starting to pile up in some St. Louis neighborhoods. 15 garbage truck drivers called out sick for a second straight day. Workers finished fewer than 40% of their scheduled pickups yesterday. Today, Mayor Tashara Jones's office met with their union and plans to investigate what they're calling an unauthorized work stoppage. Off camera, some of those drivers tell 5 on your side their trucks lack air conditioning and have no radio system.
They're sick and tired of being sick and tired. They have been disrespected.
I just ask that residents have patience with us at this time as we're working through these issues. Employees are very important, and we're dedicated to doing the investigation work and getting to the bottom of this.
The Streets Department predicted the city would likely resolve this labor stoppage within the next week.
Caught on camera, a barreling bus. The crash that cost the driver her job. Being a bedtime buzzsaw can be more than just a nuisance. Tonight, the snoring solutions that could save your life.
And we've been tracking storms all evening long. Gary, Frank, and I in the Weather First Weather Center. And now we've seen one wave go to the east, but the front's still back to the west. Why that could cause us problems, not necessarily overnight tonight, but sometime tomorrow in a few minutes.
New video tonight of a school bus slamming into a mobile home, and it was all caught on bus's cameras. Police say the driver overcorrected and crashed through a mailbox and fence before plowing into the empty home. 2 students were on board at the time of the crash last month. No one was seriously hurt. The bus driver was ticketed for speeding and lost her job. Snoring, it can cause tension between couples. Without a doubt, it can be disruptive and make you restless.
And in some severe cases, it can be life-threatening. Tonight, Consumer Reports looks at the sleep treatments that can give you and yours some long-awaited, uninterrupted Z's.
Snoring is not just annoying, it can keep everyone in bed from getting a good night's sleep.
It becomes harder to operate where, you have to be up at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning because the kids are up and you're unable to do that.
Manish Amin tried lifestyle changes, but when those didn't work, he talked to his doctor about a sleep study.
An overnight sleep test can detect whether you have obstructive sleep apnea, which is when your breathing pauses during sleep because something blocks your airway.
Left untreated, obstructive sleep apnea can cause daytime sleepiness. It can also strain the heart and increase the risk of anxiety, diabetes, hypertension, and even stroke. The primary treatment for sleep apnea is a continuous positive airway pressure machine, or CPAP. Users are fitted with a mask connected to a pump that pushes air into the airway, holding it open while sleeping. CPAP can significantly reduce the number of breathing interruptions during the night, but patients often have complaints.
It requires daily cleaning, which is another thing to add to your day-to-day routine.
If the full face mask isn't for you, you might want to consider a nasal pillow or a nasal mask. Another alternative, custom-made dental devices.
These are designed to move the jaw and to shift the tongue to the front of the mouth to keep the airway open, and they can be used along with CPAP.
Then there are devices like Inspire that are surgically implanted into the upper chest, like a pacemaker. They stabilize your throat during sleep to prevent obstruction of the airway. With no hose or mask to worry about, Inspire can seem like it's much more convenient, but it's not an easy fix.
Personally, I just want to be comfortable undergoing surgery for something that can be managed without it.
Remember that sleep issues can be serious, but a restful night begins with a good conversation with your doctor.
Skipping alcohol can reduce symptoms, as can sleeping on your side or stomach. Weight loss can also help because obesity is a primary factor for sleep apnea.
It's been 2 weeks since an EF1 tornado hit Sullivan, damaging the high school and destroying a popular neighborhood bar. The owners of One More Pub and Grub say the May 7th storm caused hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of damage. Most of the debris has been removed from the site. The owners are now debating whether to rebuild.
I can't say a yes or no at this time, but I do know that a lot of people would love for us to rebuild. It's just trying to figure out how we want to rebuild it. My husband's already done up like 2 different drawings.
Insurance will cover most of the damages. The owners are thinking about hosting a pool tournament at their other bar, Boomers, to raise money.
Just a few hours ago, another kind of storm caused major issues in central Illinois. This is video of a dust storm in Tazewell County near Peoria. Poor visibility forced Illinois State Police to shut down portions of I-74 and I-55 for several hours. You may remember a dust storm last April that caused a 70-car pileup on I-55 near Springfield, killing 7 people, injuring dozens of others. So far, no reports of injuries from this storm today. Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell joined us now with the latest on our storm alert, and apparently it fizzled a little bit more than we were expecting, right,
Yeah,
Scott?
and I don't think any of us will complain about that.
Nope.
Let's be honest. I mean, you know, it's been a rough spring, and this system produced some really intense tornadoes up across parts of Iowa, going up into Wisconsin. Now, the front is still back to our north and west. We're still ahead of the front, so we're still in that warm, unstable air, but there's not a lot of forcing on this front to make the air rise. And we had thunderstorms that developed way out ahead of the front. And the first wave that came through St. Louis did have some gusty winds around 35, 40 miles per hour. But that's what we saw during the day, just based on the winds coming out of the south with the warm air pushing in and across the region. So we've watched as everything has continually moved tonight very quickly, about 50, 55 miles an hour. These storms not staying in any one place for any stretch of time, and therefore really not causing any big problems for most of us. Power outages have been limited this evening. We still have that one cell here that's working its way along Interstate 64 east of St. Louis. Has some pretty good cloud-to-ground lightning with it. There might be a little bit of small hail. Shiloh heading up into O'Fallon right now, back through Fairview Heights. You know, it's going to be gone in about 15 or 20 minutes. And your threat, it's the heavy rain and the lightning right now. This down 44 towards Rolla, another batch of some thunderstorms rolling in. It's producing some downpours, nothing severe, no wind with that. There are a few cells here trying to redevelop just along the front. That's why the National Weather Service hasn't let that tornado watch completely go just yet, because there is still potential for something to develop here over the course of the next hour or two. So the tornado watch in effect until midnight for much of the area. They've trimmed it back out of mid-Missouri. As we go into tomorrow, the threat shifts farther south of St. Louis, and it's really going to be focused more along the Arkansas-Missouri border for tomorrow afternoon. We could see some storms early tomorrow afternoon across southern portions of Missouri that do in fact produce some gusty winds. There's your tornado watch here through midnight. Still includes St. Louis, but once the trends are assessed over the course of the next hour or two, we'll see how much longer that stays up. We should be partly cloudy to mostly clear early tomorrow morning, and we'll start on the dry side. That means we warm up nicely. Clouds roll back in. A few scattered showers, maybe a rumble of thunder for St. Louis as we head towards mid-afternoon. The focus, though, is farther to the south, where a few stronger thunderstorms are possible. They should be scooting out of the area by 7:30, 8 o'clock. Nice little cloud-to-ground lightning off to the east of St. Louis. 75 degrees. Our high today was 91. The forecast for Sunday, temperatures around 80, and we brought that up because that's probably the wettest day of the Memorial Day weekend. Yes, temperatures are going to be warm. It's going to be muggy. There will be opportunities for rain, but it's not a washout weekend. And even though there could be a stronger storm or two as we head towards the weekend, it's way too soon to try to pinpoint that. As you saw with tonight, you know, the storms impact each other and kind of affect how things pan out. But we're aiming in the right direction here for the overnight hours.
Yeah, kind of good news about what happened. Scott, thanks.
All right, Frank is off tonight, but Corey Miller is here with sports.
Well, the Cardinals had a soggy Tuesday at Busch. Jason Tatum played in a playoff classic, and Craig Berube is officially wearing a new shade of blue. Stick around, sports is up next.
This 5 on Your Side Sports Report is sponsored by Telly Tire and Auto Centers, driving your way since 1942.
Casey Stengel famously said, there are 3 things you can do in a baseball game. You can win, you can lose, or it can rain. Cardinals fans have seen plenty of losses and rain-impacted games this year, but the tide could be starting to turn. The Cards were trying to win their 3rd straight series tonight against Baltimore. They played this series 71 years ago. It's an all-St. Louis battle. Of course, the Orioles used to be the St. Louis Browns. Spicy start. Lars Nootbaar called out on a clear ball. He didn't like it, chirps from the dugout afterwards, and he gets tossed. First career ejection for Newt. Cardinals would get on the board first. Nolan Gorman belts one. Cedric Mullins not going to be able to catch it. 1-0 Cardinals. You know what? Every night Mason Wynn does something that makes you say out loud, wow. Here was tonight's entry. O's would tie it at 1 on this Jorge Mateo hit through the left side. But other than that, Lance Lynn was dealing. 6 innings, no earned runs, and 5 strikeouts. That's when the rain came. The game was postponed. It will be resumed at 11:15 a.m. tomorrow before Wednesday's originally scheduled game begins. Here's some non-rain related Cardinals news. We got the chance to catch up with Wilson Contreras over the weekend, and if it's up to him, that broken arm won't be keeping him out for quite as long as originally thought. He is not in a cast and feels great.
The way I feel, I could say it's not going to be All-Star break. It could be earlier than that. I'm not going to say something that is going to get above the doctor's opinion. But if you ask me how I'm feeling great. I think it's going to be a couple of weeks. Yeah, the way I feel. I'm not saying like I'm going to come back before All-Star.
There are a handful of coaching jobs in professional sports that come with added pressure just based on the team and the market. Among them, coach of the Los Angeles Lakers, coach of the New York Yankees, and certainly coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Good luck, Chief. The Maple Leafs introduced Craig Berube as their new head coach today. The Chief said he'll bring accountability and a heavy game to a team that hasn't won a Stanley Cup since 1967. The team president is former Blue Brendan Shanahan, and these two do have a bit of a history together.
When I came in as an 18-year-old, I was playing in the bottom 6 and playing a lot against Craig. And then about halfway through my second year, I got put on the first line and doing really well on the first line. And Craig came up to me at the end of a game and said, well, I guess you're not going to fight us guys anymore. And I said, let's go. And at the end of the fight, I said, you know what? He might have had it right. Maybe I should stop doing that.
Jason Tatum and the Celtics facing Indiana in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals tonight. Fast start for Boston, and this Tatum layup made it a 14-2 game. Pacers responded. Tyrese Halliburton from way downtown. Tie game at the half. Fourth quarter, Celtics down 3. Time running out. Jaylen Brown hits a circus three-pointer to tie the game. We're going to overtime. And in overtime, JT took over. He had 10 points in OT, 36 points overall, and hit this huge three-pointer to seal the deal. Celtics win Game 1, 133-128. Over in the WNBA, Edwardsville's Kate Martin is making a name for herself as a rookie for the Las Vegas Aces. Check out that block on her 6'7" opponent over the weekend. That block elicited perhaps the photo of the year with Martin and her teammate Kelsey Plum coming up that you're going to see. I think the former Edwardsville Tiger is going to fit right in the WNBA. Good picture.
It's a great picture.
Every night, no matter the sport, I say this all the time, you can turn on any sport and you're going to see a St. Louis native.
Yeah, that's
doing
true.
St. Louis connection,
And
always.
it keeps you busy.
Yes.
Okay, thanks, Corey. Tonight's storm threat is diminishing. Scott will have the latest on tomorrow's storm alert when we come back.
All month on Today in St. Louis, we've been showing you careers you can start without a college degree. And there's one program here in St. Louis that's training up the next generation of auto tech workers and mechanics. And trust me, in the next 5 years, there are going to be hundreds of thousands of open positions. These students are going to fill some of those. Don't miss this story on Today in St. Louis.
The annual Folds of Honor campaign, sponsored by Schnucks, is now underway. From now until May 28th, you can round up at the register. And money raised goes towards scholarships for spouses and children of fallen and wounded service members and first responders. 5 on Your Side is a proud partner.
And Scott, you have another update on our storm alert.
Yeah, you know, we're still tracking a few showers and thunderstorms out there right now, but nothing severe. We really haven't had anything all that intense tonight, which is great, but they're still producing some downpours and still producing some thunder. And you see it filling in here down along 44. That's still ahead of the front. these storms right now that are just northwest of St. Louis, developing back towards Troy and just towards Moscow Mills and then down towards Warrenton, they're not nearly as strong as what you had earlier today. There's a few more down towards Rolla. None of these even close to severe. Highly unlikely they would get anywhere close to severe tonight. But for another hour or so through midnight, technically we have this tornado watch that's still in effect for St. Louis. We will continue to monitor the trends. National Weather Service is talking about the possibility of going ahead and eliminating that, but they haven't done so yet. And then our next opportunity will come tomorrow afternoon. As we get south of St. Louis, a few stronger storms may develop during the afternoon hours.
All right. There you have it. 5 on your side at 10. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is next.
Be sure to start your day with Today in St. Louis at 4 a.m. Have a great tomorrow.